There's a problem with trying to run survival horror in D&D. D&D is designed to make players feel kind of like superheroes. A game like Resident Evil is designed to make you feel like a victim. If you want to run a campaign that's based on Resident Evil or survival horror in general, you don't need scary monsters. They help, but what you really need is to take away the player's safety net. Because that is what survival horror is built on. So, in this video, what I'm going to do is give you 4 ways that you can kind of strip away some of that power fantasy and add in these 4 mechanics that'll help you create a more Resident Evil survival horror feel for your D&D games. Mechanic number 1. Inventory management. The encumbrance in D&D and a lot of fantasy RPGs, this isn't just for D&D, is that it's boring. It's just math. And a lot of times players and game masters, dungeon masters will just get rid of it because it doesn't really add a lot to the game. But what if we change it from pounds, kilograms, to slots? What if instead of having an encumbrance, you have a fixed number of things that you can actually carry at any given time? Maybe your characters only get 6 total slots, plus their strength modifier, if you want. Well, now suddenly your inventory isn't a boring math game. It's a major decision. What if your dagger, a potion, a key takes up a slot? What if a short sword, or if you're including guns, smaller weapons, bigger than a dagger, about the size of a short sword? What if those take up 2 slots? What if bigger weapons and items take up 3 slots? What if just carrying a shield takes up 2 slots? Now, your armor that you're wearing, that doesn't take up a slot. But if you want to pick up and carry around some extra armor or loot, that's going to take up slots. So what does this accomplish? Well, now inventory isn't just a mechanic. It's a choice. It's drama. Do you pick up a quest item that you're definitely going to need, but you have to drop your shield in order to pick it up? You have to make a decision. Somebody has to pick up the quest item. That creates tension without needing any combat at all. Okay, next mechanic. Scarcity. What if you actually make your archer count their arrows? And what if instead of finding or being able to buy bundles of like 20 arrows at a time, they have to scrounge around and find a handful, 2 or 3 at a time? The same would apply if you're using weapons of any kind that use ammunition. Just like any survival horror game, bullets tend to be scarce. You make them have to count and be careful about their use of ammunition. Swords don't have ammunition, but you could introduce some kind of, what's it called in Breath of the Wild? A mechanic for degradation of weapons. That could be annoying, but it's an idea. So, what do you do about magic, though? Well, how about This could be kind of controversial. Probably wouldn't be very popular. But you take away damage dealing cantrips, or make them deal a lot less damage. And they can't get away with using a focus. They have to find spell components in order to cast their spells. Okay? Fireball, normally you could probably get away with just using a focus because the components aren't all that valuable. But if the player actually has to find some gunpowder or guano and sulfur, suddenly being able to cast Fireball isn't as great a tool as it might seem. You create scarcity and force them to use their resources. Next, healing. First off, you kind of have to make spell slots a bit more difficult to get back if you're going to have a cleric. But there are other ways that you can do this. Unless you are going to completely remove healing spells from the game, which is an option. Again, you might make your players mad, but it is an option. You can also do things like take away healing potions. Even if they're found in the rest of your campaign, this is something that you can do at any point in any campaign to create a survival horror scenario. Simply don't give them access to the healing potions anymore for the duration of the survival horror scenario. Don't allow them to take full short rests. This isn't really something that you could just drop into a normal campaign usually. You can always introduce some kind of environmental factor, radiation or possessing fog, evil mist, something that makes short rests not really give them any rest. And long rests, well, those are going to be kind of difficult to come by. Instead, we can borrow from Resident Evil itself and introduce herbs, or a very similar sort of system. You can have your green herbs, red herbs, and blue herbs. And you use them very similarly to how you would in a game of Resident Evil. A green herb by itself will heal a very little amount. You can combine herbs to get stronger effects. But you have to be careful about when you use them, and of course, holding on to herbs will take up slots in your inventories, or those of the players. And then you would use your blue herbs to cure infections and poison statuses. For example, the zombies might have a bite that is infectious. They have to use blue herbs to cure that infection, or it will slowly lower their HP over time, and suddenly it isn't just about getting your HP back up, it's about surviving. Okay? Number 4. This comes to the long rest mechanic. You have to have a safe room in order to take a long rest. You can't simply clear out a part of a dungeon and take a nap, even with a watch. It's the sort of thing that if they try to do that, they will get interrupted and not get a long rest. You have to give them a safe place, but they have to find the safe place and kind of get into that understanding that it is a safe place. Okay? It's kind of the Resident Evil ink ribbon rule, if you will. They cannot get a long rest anywhere else except the safe room. And you could even take it a little step further and make it a little bit meaner and actually use something like an ink ribbon. they can only get a full long rest if they have a resource they found and they have to consume it, such as rations. Okay? Otherwise, maybe you give them a level of exhaustion and they might heal up. You give them the benefits of the rest, but they get the exhaustion on top of it. You can always find ways to make even things that are supposed to be beneficial and healing for the characters to twist it and give it that little survival horror stab in the back. So let's say we have a hypothetical scenario for a game. Your players are walking through a haunted forest. They're trying to find an item, a golden emblem. It's the only thing that they can use to get inside the big nasty castle where they know that they need to go next. Your fighter, he finds the emblem. But then suddenly, your players are attacked by zombies. They're running out of resources. They need to take a rest. Your fighter, the emblem, it's right there, but he only has one slot left. They're running low on everything. Your ranger doesn't have enough arrows. You don't have enough herbs. They don't have enough herbs. What does he do? The emblem is a large item. It takes up 2 slots. What does the fighter do? He's holding a torch in one hand. Does he have to drop the torch to get the emblem? And now the light's going down. And the zombies are still there. What do the players do? Result? This is no longer a simple combat encounter. It's a panic attack. That is survival horror in D&D. So, just to give a quick summary. Scarcity creates fear. Limitations breed creativity. So, if you've enjoyed this video, I have another resource in the description that you might like. It's a free PDF about 10 rules for running a stalker-type character or enemy for your D&D game. Thinking Nemesis, Mr. X type of foes that just keep on coming. You can't really stop them. They just keep on coming. Okay? And it is completely free. You can pick it up in the description. The link's right there. And in the comments, let me know, what is the scariest monster you've ever run or had a GM run for you in a D&D or other RPG campaign? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Don't forget to share, like, and comment. And I'll see you on the next one. Later.